Start how, that overnight break.
No crowd, no cameras, no seed number next to her name. 3 days ago, a different image appeared. The same young woman lifting a trophy in Washington, D.C., a stadium full of people chanting her name.
Today was a little bit hotter. I think I was playing much better yesterday for whatever reason than I was today.
A world number 3 sitting on the other side of the net still trying to process what had just happened. Between those two pictures sits Alex Eala, 21 years old, now the world number 20, and as of this week the first player from the Philippines ever to win a WTA Tour singles title. On August 13th, she walks onto the grounds of the Cincinnati Open, not as a wild card, not as a qualifier. As the champion of the tournament, she just left, carrying a resume nobody else in the field can match. To understand why the WTA 1000 Cincinnati field is quietly recalibrating around a player it barely had to consider a month ago, you need only 3 facts. First, in 1 week in Washington, Eala beat the top 3 seeds, the number 1, the number 2, and the number 3. Second, she did it on hard court, the surface where she was supposed to still be developing. Third, she arrives in Cincinnati by direct entry into a main draw that includes 75 of the world's top 77 players, headlined by Aryna Sabalenka, Iga Świątek, Coco Gauff, and Jessica Pegula, the same Jessica Pegula she just beat for the biggest title of her life. This is where the story becomes more complicated than a headline. The question the tour is now asking is not whether Alex Eala can play. That question closed on Monday night in Washington. The question is whether what happened in D.C. was a ceiling, a perfect week that lifted her higher than she can sustain, or a threshold, a door she has walked through and cannot walk back from. Every player who wins a first WTA title arrives at the next event carrying this exact question. Tour history holds both answers. Some champions never win another title. Some never lose that gear again. Cincinnati, starting in 9 days, is the first place the WTA gets to see which one Eala is. The reason the field is paying attention, the reason the phrase "in shock" is not quite right but not entirely wrong, is that Jessica Pegula, moments after losing that final, did not blame conditions, did not credit the weather delay, did not say she was tired. She said, and this is a direct quote from her press conference, "I want to congratulate Alex on an amazing week, an amazing tournament. I don't know how much more I can say, but you're an amazing player." That is the world number 3 telling the tour this was not a fluke. That is the person best positioned to explain away the loss, choosing instead to name it accurately. Here is what the record shows, laid out plainly. 2 weeks ago, Alex Eala was ranked number 28 in the world. She had never won a WTA Main Tour title. She had reached the semifinals in Miami. She had beaten some top players in stretches, but she had not yet closed a tournament. She entered the Mubadala Citi DC Open as a projection more than a pattern, a name people were tracking for later, not for this month. She arrived in Washington on a hard court surface that historically favors bigger servers and taller players, drawn into a bracket seeded by Pegula at number 1 and stacked with veterans across every quarter. Then, over 7 days, the pattern rewrote itself. She won her opening round from a set down. She took out opponents in matches where she trailed late before finding another gear. The run began in earnest. Grouping these results changes their meaning. Individually, any one of those wins is impressive, worth a clip, worth a headline. Taken together in the order they occurred, they describe something different. They describe a player becoming, in real time, someone else. In the quarterfinals, she defeated Elina Svitolina, the 10th seed, and one of the most experienced ball strikers on tour, 6-3, 6-4. A straight sets result over an opponent who had beaten far higher-ranked players earlier that same week. After that match, asked why she seemed to have another gear late in matches, Eala said, "I guess that just comes also with the level of my tennis getting higher because you always want to win and you always want to fight." Notice what is missing from that answer. There is no surprise in it. There is no disbelief. She is describing a level she already knows she has. Then came the semifinal, and this is the match that reframed everything. Naomi Osaka, the 3rd seed, 4-time Grand Slam champion, returning to the form that had made her one of the defining players of the last decade. Eala had never beaten her. Nobody who watched the two of them before this week would have said Eala was the favorite. She won 6-4, 6-2. Not close. Not lucky. Her first career win over Osaka. And the scoreline did not read like an upset. It read like a report. And this brings us to the moment that will, in the long tape of her career, likely be the one people rewind. The final against Pegula. Take a breath here, because the rest of the story hangs on this one sentence. She was down a set. The weather delayed the match. And when they came back out onto the court, she won the third set 6-0, 6-0 against the world number 3 in a Sunday final that had been suspended long enough for both players to have every opportunity to reset, refocus, tighten up, and play the version of themselves that has been finalist material for years. Pegula came back out and played her game. Eala came back out and played a level higher than the one that had gotten her to the final. That is not a hot streak. That is not adrenaline. Adrenaline does not run for 6 consecutive games against a top 3 player. That is a player who found, under the exact conditions designed to expose her, a version of her tennis that had not existed at that scale before. The WTA's official channels in the hours after the match summarized the entire week in a single line. Alex Eala had beaten the number 1, number 2, and number 3 seeded players at the DC Open. Nobody else on this year's tour has done that in a single event. And this is why the language around her Cincinnati arrival has shifted so quickly. The Cincinnati Open, a WTA 1000, the third largest event on the women's tour, the last major tune-up before the US Open, draws its field from the top of the sport by design. 75 of the top 77 players are in the draw. Aryna Sabalenka is defending her title from last year. Iga Świątek is seeded to make another deep run. Coco Gauff, playing at home in the American swing, is in the mix. There is no soft round in this event. There is no bracket side to hide on. And Alex Eala, who last year was watching this tournament from a very different position in the ranking table, walks into it as the freshest champion on the calendar, carrying a form line that statistically no other player in the draw can match this fortnight. The authority voice on this shift belongs again to Jessica Pegula, because she is the only top 3 player who has actually played Eala across a full match in current form. Her post-final remarks are worth reading not for their politeness, but for what they contain factually. She spoke about Eala's variety, about how difficult the ball was to read, about the fact that Eala was, in her phrasing, not fun to play against. That is a technical assessment from a player whose entire game is built on making other people uncomfortable. Pegula is number 3 in the world because she rarely gives opponents rhythm. The fact that she left the court in Washington describing a 21-year-old as not fun to play against is not flattery. It is professional acknowledgement. And it is the closest thing the tour has right now to a scouting report on what the Cincinnati field is about to face. There is a wider significance here that goes beyond 1 week's results. Alex Eala is, as of Monday night, the first Filipino player in the history of the Women's Tennis Association to win a tour-level singles title, the first in a sport that has been global for half a century. She is also the first Filipino player ever to reach the top 20 of the WTA rankings, arriving at world number 20 on the ranking update that followed the Washington final. Her prize money for the 2026 season now sits above $1.5 million. Her singles record for the year is 35 wins against 18 losses, a record that reflects a season of steady climbing, not a single hot week. Across the Philippines, congratulations poured in through the night after the final, from officials, from athletes and other sports, from the tennis community that has been watching this trajectory for years. But the more revealing cultural moment came earlier in the tournament, during a press conference, when a reporter asked her what it was like to be a global rising star. Eala paused and reframed the question. She said, and this is verified, "I think the question should be rephrased. It's what is it like to be Filipino?" That answer will follow her the rest of her career, because it does something rare. It refuses to translate her identity into someone else's category. She did not want to talk about being the exception. She wanted to talk about the community that produced her. It is a small line, and it says more about the room she is walking into next week than any ranking number can. It is worth remembering, before this all sounds too much like coronation, that 6 weeks ago the story was different. At Wimbledon, Alex Eala walked onto a court for a match against Barbara Krejcikova, the defending champion, and won the first set. She had the champion on the ropes, and then she lost the match. The tape of that afternoon shows a player who could see the door open and could not, in that moment, walk through it. Coverage framed it as a test she had come close to passing. The gap between that Wimbledon afternoon and this Washington week is not measured in months. It is measured in 3-set wins from behind, in recoveries from 5-1 deficits, in a 6-love third set against the world number 3 after a rain delay. Whatever changed in Alex Eala's game between late June and early August, it changed the ending. That is the turning point. The ranking table was slow to catch it, and it is why the Wimbledon loss now reads less as a setback than as a data point on the far side of the line. Which brings us back to Cincinnati, to the moment 8 days from now when a draw sheet gets published and somebody's name lands on the same line as Alexandra Eala. Whoever it is, they will spend the days before that match watching tape of what happened in Washington. They will see the semi-final against Osaka. They will see the final against Pegula. They will see the 6-love third set. And they will have to figure out what to do about a player who 2 weeks ago they might have expected to beat and who now arrives carrying the resume of the tournament she just won. That is the room Alex Eala is in now, not the qualifiers room where she has spent so many of the past seasons. Not the promising young player room where the coverage was always about what might come. She is in the seeded players room at a WTA 1000, and she got there by beating the players who are already inside it. The photograph from Manila and the photograph from Washington are not two separate people. They're the same player arriving. The work continues on Wednesday, and the next chapter is Cincinnati, a tournament she has never played in the main draw before, at a level she has never sustained across a fortnight, in a field designed to find out exactly how real this new version of her actually is. If you have been following the story with us across the summer, stay in the room. It is about to get louder. Subscribe to Tennis Diaries. Turn on notifications. Drop your prediction for Cincinnati and for the US Open that follows. The first title is already history. The next test begins in 9 days.